Let's be real for a second. When you hear the word sales, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's pushy tactics, aggressive closers. It's not always a great image. But what if the best way to sell had nothing to do with any of that? What if it's actually about being more human? Today, we're going to dive into a playbook that totally flips that old script. It argues that real, lasting success is found when you put people way, way before pitches. This quote right here, honestly, this is the entire philosophy in a nutshell. It's about a huge shift in what the goal of sales even is. We're moving away from just chasing a transaction, the quick wins, and instead we're focusing on building real, actual relationships. It's about playing the long game, not just sprinting for the next easy score. So let's just break it down, side by side. Over on the left, you've got the old way of doing things. It's all about tactics, hard closes, and let's face it, it's mostly driven by self-interest. But then look at the level up approach on the right. The foundation is completely different. It's built on relationships, on serving, on empathy. See, this isn't just a tiny adjustment. It's a whole new way of thinking. Now, here's what makes this so interesting. This whole philosophy, it wasn't cooked up in a boardroom or some corporate think tank. No, this was forged in the fire of some serious, real-life challenges. The author behind this playbook, Layla Colgan, she didn't just have a good idea one day. She had to live it. I mean, picture this. You're a single mom with 2 little kids, you're getting out of an abusive situation, and you have to build a career from absolute scratch. There's no safety net. For her, failure just wasn't an option, and making real, human connections became her absolute lifeline. And here's the thing. Her people-first approach wasn't just a nice theory. It worked. It worked so well, in fact, that people at the very top started to notice. I mean, after you bring in over $65 million in sales, you can bet executives are going to pull you aside. They told her, "You've got something here. We don't know what it is, but it's special." And that quote on the screen, that was the final nudge she needed to actually turn her unique, relationship-first method into a system anyone could learn. And that system is what we now know as the 5S method. It's this really powerful but simple framework that makes this whole authentic, people-first approach something that's actionable for anyone. So let's take a look at how it works. So the method is built on these 5 pillars. You've got shift, strategize, sell, seal, and serve. It's a super clear roadmap, right? But the most important thing to see here is where it all begins. It doesn't start with what you do, it starts with how you think. That first step, shift, is without a doubt the most critical one because it's all internal. It's about making a fundamental change in your mindset about what you're even doing in the first place. Everything else, it all gets built right on top of this one foundation. So you're shifting away from that old school mentality, you know the one I'm talking about, where you're just trying to hit your number for the quarter, you're pushing a product, and the client is just, well, a means to an end. It's totally transactional and pretty impersonal. And you're shifting towards a completely different endgame. The new focus is all about creating value for the long haul. It's about becoming a genuine problem solver for your client. You see the difference? You're not just selling a thing anymore, you're building a real partnership. And once you made that crucial mindset shift, the other steps just start to click into place. Strategize is about working smarter. It's about really adapting your game plan to what's going on in the client's world. Then sell. That's about throwing out the stiff scripts and just using your own authenticity and emotional intelligence. Seal isn't about forcing a close. It's about earning it because you've actually solved their problem. And finally, serve. This is the secret to creating loyalty for life by adding value long after the deal is done. Okay, but a framework as great as it is only one piece of the puzzle. Beyond that, you've got the intangibles. You know, that secret sauce. Those personal qualities that make you, well, you. This is all about how you show up. And as we're about to see, that can be way more powerful than anything you're actually selling. Let me tell you a quick story that just nails this point perfectly. Imagine this. It's almost 5 p.m. You've got a deadline to get a massive contract signed. The problem? Your client is absolutely furious with your company. They've told you flat out they won't even see you. So, what do? And the stakes here, they are sky high. We're not talking about a small deal. This is a $5 million contract hanging in the balance. The pressure is just immense. Most people would probably just give up, right? This is where that whole people-first idea really gets put to the test. So what happened? Colgan rushed over to their office, was respectfully persistent, and got into the room. And she didn't get defensive. She didn't make excuses for her company. She just listened. And this quote from the client afterward, man, it says it all. The deal was saved, Not because of the product, not because of the price, but because one person cared enough to show up and actually listen. The relationship, that was everything. That whole story is the perfect example of this idea she calls being persistently nice. Now, this doesn't mean being a pushover, not at all. It's this incredible balancing act of knowing when to push a little and when to just shut up and listen. And the whole thing is guided by one simple rule. You always, always have the customer's best interest at heart. And this brings us to what might be the biggest idea of all. This approach, it goes so far beyond just closing deals. It's really about the legacy you're building with every single interaction, whether it's at work or in your personal life. At the end of the day, it's not just what you do, it's who you are. Just think about that for a second. Every promise you keep, every time you decide to follow through, every moment you choose to really connect with somebody, you're building your reputation. All those little things add up, and they become the story that people tell about you when you're not around. And you have to think about that ripple effect, right? The people who are watching you, your kids, your coworkers, your team, they're learning from your example every single day. So what are you teaching them? Are you showing them how to value human connection? How to keep their word? How to treat people with respect even when you think there's nothing in it for you? These are the lessons that actually define your legacy. So we'll end with this question just to let it sit with you for a bit. Based on how you act today, at your job, at home, just out in the world, what are the stories that people are going to tell about you tomorrow? Because really, that's your true bottom line.